Hey y'all, hi. It's time for another episode of New Makeup Hot Takes. This is a show where I talk about new makeup and give my hot takes. I'm feeling like a little crusty. My skin's really dry right now. This is the first time I've put on a full face of makeup in a while, and I'm just not feeling my best. I know you're all gonna be like, you look fine, you look fine. I need to say it for myself, okay? Feeling a little bit crusty. I'm also feeling a little bit rusty because this is the first time I filmed talking head style, like face to the camera, in a while, because I've been filming that overhead declutter series for what seems like the better part of my young life. Just had to get that off my chest. Little rusty, little crusty, but I don't think that that's going to inhibit me from giving you my hot takes. Although this is, once again, off the cuff. I haven't prepared. Last time I was like forced into this because I had a very short amount of time and was flustered. So I just winged it. And I said in that video that it never goes well when I do this. But then it went well last time. And all of you in the comments were like, do it again, wing it again. Don't prepare next time either. So I'm not prepared. We'll just see how it goes. But it's also just like, it's December. Black Friday's over. We're barreling towards the end of the year. Everyone's tearing their hair out. I don't know what makeup brands are trying to do at this time of year. Like, they're trying to get us to buy stuff for gifts. They're trying to get us to buy stuff for ourselves while we're out shopping for gifts for other people. That's what they're trying to get us to do. I feel like all the holiday releases released early, but maybe there have been some holiday themed things that have come out that I haven't seen yet because I've been paying what? No attention. No attention. I've just been over here decluttering, minding my own business, living my best life. So we're about to discover together what is happening in the world of makeup. Hopefully the takes will be sizzling hot. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome. I'm glad you clicked on this chaotic video. My name is Hannah. I love makeup, and this is primarily a beauty channel, although some fashion videos have been popping off lately. I'm tiptoeing into the world of fashion as well. My approach is overall about quality over quantity. I used to be an overspender on these kinds of things. It took a lot for me to kind of reset that behavior. So I don't want to encourage overspending on my channel. With New Makeup Hot Takes, I'm often like looking at what's new to the market, parsing what's attractive about it so that you can really understand, and then coming up with a reason not to buy it. If that sounds good, if you like this, I hope you'll subscribe. And now let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. All right, I'm gonna move my rusty, crusty self over here so that we can put in the pictures. So we rearranged the camera setup. When I film the overhead videos, we have to move the camera. So it's like up here, filming down onto the table. And since we moved it back, I feel like this is the lowest my chair goes, but I'm kind of high in the frame. It's fine though. It'll do for today, and we'll fix it later. Also, what even is hair? Oh my gosh, get it together, Postin. What even is makeup? Oh, I forgot to say I put on a lot of glitter on my eyes to compensate for how rusty and crusty I was feeling. That's what's going on here. Right before I sat down, I just was like, bleh, like glitter fixes everything, but I'm not sure it has. Okay, I'm at the top of Trend Mood 1, which is the Instagram account that posts about new makeup releases. Scrolling down, so we're going in reverse chronological order, and I'm just gonna talk about things that interest me. Up first, Christian Dior, Spring 2023. That's what next year is, right? I have so much to say. Actually, it's not so much to say. Just what I have to say about this is very strong and clear. First of all, is this what's been happening? I was out here being like, I don't know what's going on. It's probably like red and green palettes. But no, Spring 2023. It's like the holidays were over back in August, and now we're releasing spring makeup. But beyond that, this looks wildly dated to me in that kind of attractive way. Apart from the fact that the colors they're boring in that way that's like bordering on the old Neapolitan ice cream thing. You know what I mean? Like a cheek palette by It Cosmetics that's like the light pink, the white highlighter, and like the very pale bronzer. Quite apart from the fact, or in addition to the fact that only some people can use makeup that's in that shade range, it's also just boring in terms of like the color complexity. Like it's meaning like it's not there. Like there's no subtlety to it. It doesn't have the Farrow and Ball quality of pigment, this sort of layered intelligence with color. It's just like the bottom of the barrel, most obvious choice when it comes to color, except for maybe they're blushes all the way on the right-hand side of this big palette. One on the bottom maybe has a little bit of something to say for it, but not enough to like hold its own against the absolute yawn fest that is the rest of what's going on in this makeup. And then the packaging, this is the thing. The packaging, I kind of like it because it looks, I like animal print myself, and it looks so incredibly dated. It looks retro, you know what I mean? if this had been a holiday release and they were like Dior Holiday Retro Leopard, and then these palettes were bursting with like rich, layered, varied, intelligent colors, like subtle, unusual, exciting colors and textures, I would be like, slay Dior, and I might even be wanting to like buy it for review. That's how much I like the packaging if it were done right, you know what I mean? But in the context of what's actually inside the packaging here, it's a no in 1,000 ways. Oh my God, this is Too Faced. Pinker times ahead. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? It looks terrible to me. I feel like there's a category of makeup that sometimes shows up on Trend Mood where it's like a small brand, but it's not necessarily an indie brand. It's like this very commercial, just trying to make a quick buck brand that nobody's heard of, where they're like mass producing. Maybe it's like private label palettes or something. I suspect that they like buy their way into being featured on Trend Mood, and it's just like nobody's ever heard of this brand and nobody ever will, but they just like are trying to sell their palettes, and you can always just tell it looks like generic. There's again no sort of intelligence or inspiration in the color story, and the packaging looks cheap, and it also kind of looks like photoshopped. What you're seeing, it looks like a digital rendering or something, right? So I took one glance at this Pinker times ahead thing and I was like, oh, it's probably just one of those like not actually a real brands, but it's Too Faced. Moving on, elcie Cosmetics. I had a highlighter once from elcie that I got in PR at some point, and I kind of liked it. It had quality. The texture was really nice. The surface of the pan, it was really attractive. So I have a positive association with elcie. Let's do the good first of this, okay? The elcie Cosmetics, the Minimalist Special Edition Volume 2. The pans look very pretty, okay? The textures, the colors, except for that really bright gold one, for me, not my favorite, but I love the bronze. Actually, I don't really love the copper, but I love the bronze, the light pink, and the sort of multicolored taupe. I really love that. And I'm just like, want to touch them, want to get them on my brushes, want to get them on my fingers. Like the photography, there's something about it. It's just, it has qualities that I like. But the pans, different sizes, but only just. And in this weird asymmetrical way, it's like, why did they do that? Don't people know that this is a thing that turns people off? Like, don't brands know that? I don't know. I feel like there are a handful of things you do when you're designing a palette that's just going to cut your potential market like in half. Like you've lost 50% of the people who might have bought it because there are so many makeup consumers who can't stand it when things look like this, just like slightly ever so almost fitting, but not quite. And it's not a person who can't stand it on a visceral level. You know, some people look at this and they're like, it makes my skin crawl. I can't handle that it's not symmetrical. That's not how it is for me. But I do think it looks a little bit messy, a little bit like they were unrefined. They were just like, let's just try it this way, rather than really having like a powerful, direct artistic vision. For someone like me, a consumer like me who's out here looking for a reason not to buy something, that's the reason. That's the reason I land on not to buy this. And then it just sort of is in one ear and out the other. And I don't understand why they don't know that. A green color corrector from Givenchy in a tube. Prism Libre Skin Caring Concealer. Okay, so I'm usually out here looking for a reason not to buy things. But every once in a while in this investigation into new makeup, I come across something that fits the very narrow parameters of things that are sort of like a must review for me for my channel. I have a green color corrector that I really love, the one from elcie. So just as a normal consumer, I might keep an eye on this one and wait for reviews, but I wouldn't be like buying it on the release date because you don't need two of something like that. But as a makeup reviewer, you already know, like the Givenchy Prism Libre Loose Powder is an old friend here on my channel. Green color corrector is one of my very specific interests in the realm of makeup. So I will likely be reviewing this green color corrector, this Givenchy. It says hashtag coming soon. How soon, Trend Mood? How soon? Wait, this is also the spring 2023 collection. Is it not being released until spring 2023? At times like this, do you know what floats across my brain? That line from Howl by Allen Ginsberg. I can't stand my own mind. But really, when I say my own mind, I'm like thinking of actually the makeup community and the way in which they release things for spring 2022. I'm just scrolling through seeing if there's anything else from the collection that would make sense. Like if the collection is saying to me, yes, review like a handful of pieces from this collection in the video or just the green color corrector. I have always kind of been interested in the Prism Libre Loose Blush just because I like the finish of the powder so much, but all of the rest of it looks a little bit ho-hum. There's nothing remarkable really about it to me except for the green color corrector. I guess there's a concealer, like not a color correcting concealer, but just a regular concealer as well coming out with it. We'll see what the shade range is like. I mean, you're on notice, Givenchy, we'll see. Okay, I have been getting some tags in this Pat McGrath Star Wars thing because one of my extremely thorough, insanely thorough reviews of makeup on my channel from like 2 years ago is of the Midnight Sun palette. And the Midnight Sun is the big mothership that's being sold in custom Star Wars packaging as part of this collaboration, which I think she has done before. But people have been like coming back to watch that video for a review of this palette because they're thinking about buying the Star Wars version. To which I say, to each her own. I mean, I know that some people love to own like a novelty version of something, an IP labeled or branded version of something because they're really into it. Some people, that's how they celebrate their love of things. For me, it's like, if you never wanted Midnight Sun before, you probably, how can I say this in the truest way? Your appreciation of it as a piece of makeup, this Star Wars one, is probably going to be very short. The thrill won't last very long. If you've never actually wanted Midnight Sun, if you don't really want the palette, if it's not you, you'll get the thrill of the packaging, the Star Wars packaging, and it just won't really last in your life. You know what I mean? That's all I have to say on the subject. The little 5 pins are cute. The color stories aren't for me, but I think they're good. The Chroma Luxe Artistry Pigment in Extra Galactic Gold. That's a color that I really like, but I don't need any of this. I like Star Wars and I like Pat McGrath, but I don't need any of this. Okay, here's something. I've been skipping through things I just don't feel like are worth taking note of, but these Sonia G brushes, which I've never really tried. I don't really know what the deal is with Sonia G. I love my Refer brushes, and I feel like that's all I ever need. I don't ever feel like tempted by other brushes because I just have all the brushes I need and they're really beautiful and they work perfectly. But this bronzer brush holder, this like volcano made of wood, touche Sonia G. It really makes me want it. Oh my gosh, it really is a tribute to Japanese craftsmanship and to the majestic Mount Fuji. I like it. I really, really like that. It's just beautiful. And you know, this is the kind of thing that I'm really into because it's this quality over quantity mindset. It's like the most beautiful version, this like exquisite version of a thing that many makeup users use on the daily. And, you know, having it be this like lovely version. I'm not going to buy this. I don't need a bronzer brush, you know. So that's my reason that I'm not going to buy this. But if you do need one, or, you know, if this is just like your exact thing and you'll get this one and then, you know, give away your others or whatever, it's always going to retain that quality of specialness because how can it not? Because it's exquisite. I'm a fan of that kind of thing and I love to see it. Okay, I don't usually talk about these big ColourPop releases because there are too many of them. And if I did that, these videos would like go on forever. But this one I had a really interesting reaction to. So this is the Aurora Struck collection. It's got this like iridescent Northern Lights packaging. There's a lot of sparkle in it. That's the kind of thing that I usually like. And here's what I thought. It's all these like greens and blues and purples, shades of blue, blue, green, and purple. I have realized recently in my explorations into paring down my closet, my makeup collection, that as much as I'm drawn to them kind of in isolation, these greens and purples, cool toned colors really. Green, I can kind of go either way, but you know what I'm saying. These are really cool tones, especially like blue, blue-green, and bluish purple. I just never feel quite my best when I'm wearing them. I like them, and over the years I've enjoyed a lot of purple eye looks and green eye looks. I'm actually wearing green. Green is like the base of this look today, but I buffed it out really, really softly. It's the green from actually the Pat McGrath Midnight Sun palette, Speak of the Devil. What I'm trying to say is that when I pared down my closet, when I just like went for a more minimal color palette, I was so set free by weeding out things that aren't in that color palette. I feel like it narrowed down my choices. It made me feel less overwhelmed. And I felt more myself and more put together every time I got dressed because I just was like, no, I never wear that. I don't ever wear green. I don't ever wear blue. Rather than having like a completely open, fluid, sort of open-ended spectrum of all of the colors in terms of what I ever wear and always sort of sliding all the way from one end to the other. And I've kind of started to do that with my makeup collection too. In my recent declutter, I just was like, I don't have to to keep like every shade of purple and green and blue in case I ever want it on those occasions when I ever want it, because those occasions are fewer and further between. When I do, I never feel my absolute best, you know? So I'll experiment once in a while, but I want to feel my best most of the time. So it's really okay for me to just say no to green, purple, and blue eyeshadow, just to start identifying as someone who doesn't wear those colors of eyeshadow. So I looked at this, and the objective color assessment part of my brain is like, wow, that's really beautiful. And then this sort of new voice came in, and that voice was like, yeah, but you don't wear those colors, so you don't buy those colors. It's an easy no for you because you're not into those colors. And I've gotten a lot of like pleasure and relief and clarity from allowing that voice to speak. When I saw this release from Colourpop, it spoke, and I just wanted to share that with you. Let's move on. Pantone Color of the Year, Viva Magenta. I'm kind of here for it. I think, you know, pinks are sometimes in my palette, and magenta is a little bit in my palette, just a little bit, because it has a warmth to it. It's like red adjacent or rust adjacent. It's just like the really pink, super saturated version of that kind of thing. So for me, on a personal level, I can get behind it. In general, I'm for it as the color of the year. It'll be interesting to see what people do with it. It looks like there are 2 new products from Rare Beauty. The Silky Touch highlighter looks really pretty, and an eye brightening like serum or something with a metal wand. I'm bringing it up here not because these are notable, because it's like exactly the thing you would expect Rare Beauty to drop, but because I've never tried or reviewed Rare Beauty. It's always on this kind of floating list, or I guess it's always floating on this list of things that I've never made a video about, never tried, and maybe one day I'll come around. What do you think? Should I ever do it? I have a feeling that Rare Beauty is still a brand in which people take a lot of interest, is what I'm trying to say, even though it's not new. I have a feeling that if I were to do like a full brand review of Rare Beauty, like I finally tried it kind of thing, I don't know, in January, I have a feeling that a lot of people would be interested in that. Am I wrong? You tell me. I don't know, things are not striking me as being worth talking about. There's new stuff from Charlotte Tilbury that's really exciting for some people. I know that there's a lot of like holiday spirit around some Charlotte Tilbury stuff, very giftable makeup, special luxury feeling makeup. Charlotte Tilbury, she started doing that thing that I feel like NARS started doing, where it just becomes so predictable. And I think that for some people, they depend on that from Charlotte Tilbury. It's like she knows her market, people know what they're getting from her, and so she's just hitting that same note over and over again. I want like a little something that indicates artistry, because she's a makeup artist. Like the last thing I feel like I remember her doing that I was excited about was those supermodel lips. They were like quite brown, quite neutral. There's just a little bit of edge to it. I feel like it's all gooey center with Charlotte Tilbury, and like to the point where now I'm scrolling through and I see the releases and I don't even have anything to say about the individual, whatever, like a highlighter, like a little mini palette or something. I just don't even have anything to say, because it's just Charlotte Tilbury doing Charlotte Tilbury. And that's fine. It's probably fine for her. She's probably selling stuff. It's probably fine for everyone who loves the brand and loves buying the brand, but it's not enough. There's not enough materials there for me to even give a hot take, I guess is what I'm saying. And weirdly, I kind of feel the same way about this byredo quint, this purple byredo quint. It's like, I'm like, didn't you release this already? Like they're like releasing a purple quint. Don't they have like 5 or 6 eyeshadow palettes, and don't they all look kind of like this? Or this is just a purple one. It's just, maybe I'm just having a moment with makeup where I'm like, give me something radical or give me nothing at all. Okay, I'm scrolling down and I'm getting back into like the Black Friday marketing. Memories. Okay, I've actually scrolled all the way down to where I left off in the last new makeup hot takes. I've gotten down to the Lisa Eldridge palettes, the Nimia Beauty palette, without anything really catching my eye. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me, but it feels like there isn't really much going on that captures that sort of holiday frenzy, the specialness of like holiday gifting, or even the specialness of choosing to get something special for yourself while you're out shopping. Like I thought there was going to be a lot of that, like trying to pull sort of the nostalgia strings, this very specific kind of consumerism that's couched in like celebration and the coziness of winter and like the glow, you know? And it's weird, like there's a lot of pastel colors, a lot of rainbow makeup, a lot of pastel rainbows. I guess Mariah Carey's trying to get it with some holiday candles, some find your happy place, cozy and cashmere, warm vanilla gift. What is this? Yeah, it's like Mariah Mariah Carey candle and body wash brand. She is really coming for like the center of that Christmas consumerism. But I don't really see anyone else coming for it in that way. And it's December 12th as I'm filming this, so I feel like it's now or never. And maybe it's never. Maybe all the brands, maybe they all sat around in their boardrooms, their creative what are they called? Creative direction meetings, and they were like, no holiday is the new holiday, or like anti-holiday is the new holiday. Or maybe it was like holiday has to happen in October for us to get a piece of the pie. It was like a rush. And now nobody knows what to do with themselves now that all of that is over and it's actually the holiday season. Everybody's spent. And so there are just these like weird pastel and neon collections trickling through, and, you know, Glossier candles and a lip balm here, a highlighter there. And it's just sort of like a low season. Maybe that's what's going on. Or maybe it's just me. Tell me what you think. Is it striking you this way? Is like December makeup feeling kind of different to you this way? Did the order unfold in a different way this year? This is all, it's like a cultural thing. Cultural questions. Like, how are we experiencing the holidays? This is like our third pandemic holiday, right? Or potentially pandemic affected holiday. And I think the market is reacting both to that and to the way that that has affected the economy. And it just feels different to me. So I'm looking forward to reading all of your comments. Here, I'll come back to the middle.
Oh my gosh, what is my life?
I'm looking forward to reading all of your comments. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I hope you enjoyed watching this episode of New Makeup Hot Takes. Again, don't forget to subscribe. I've got a bunch more videos coming along on the channel for you here in December of 2022. And don't forget to take extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world. Stop doing the kiss in the new year. I feel like it's gotten kind of cheesy. I'll keep the outro line, but I might abandon the kiss. Let's leave the kiss in 2022.